We're just ordinary people living ordinary lives until we see someone on TV win a $25,000 prize. Come on down. I'll play any game for 10 seconds of fame. Come on down. I'll make a deal, just let me spin the wheel. Come on down. To win $1 million, all you need is a little luck and thorough knowledge of multiple disparate trivial subjects.
All right, welcome to an all-new episode of Come On Down, the Game Show Podcast.
That's doing an episode right now as you're listening to it.
I'm John Baker.
I'm Jonathan Motney.
And today we're going to talk about stuff.
You know, did you ever hear the phrase, did your dad, maybe your mom ever sit you down?
He did.
When you're having a tough time, or maybe you're feeling like life is a little unfair, did they ever sit you down and say, little baby Baker, little baby John Baker, it's a dog-eat-dog world?
It's a dog-eat-dog world.
No, it's a dog-eat-dog world.
It's a dog-eat-dog world because my dad's favorite album was Doggy Style by Snoop Dogg.
By Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Doggy Dog.
Hey,
My dad believes that he, runs this world, or at the very least should.
Right, and then, but the debate, on that other side is that women run the world.
Girls.
Beyonce. Which are basically just pre-women.
Okay. Pre-women.
Have you read the book Pre-Women?
No, but I saw the movie.
Yeah. It's good.
It had Timothy Chalamet in it.
Okay, right.
Yeah, today, wow, what a coincidence. We're going to be talking about a game show called Dog Eat Dog.
Wow. Just like the phrase.
Just like the phrase. Yeah, not Doggy Dog, which was a plot point in Schmigadoon on Apple TV Plus. Apple, give us money for saying that.
God, I would love some Apple money. You know what, though? I feel like it's unfair because they don't have enough cash on hand.
They don't?
They don't have billions of dollars.
They have 150 billion?
No.
Oh.
And they don't have it in cash.
Oh, okay.
Where do they keep... We should Ocean's 11 the $150 billion.
It's probably like a Scrooge McDuck situation. Tim Cook just...
Do you think it's in
bathes
coins? Because if so, it would need to be in 40 Olympic pools.
Like one of those grain silos just filled with Sacagawea dollars.
Okay.
Is my best guess.
Okay.
For where they would keep it. Because that's like... I guess I never thought about this before, but like a bank, for example. Say Bank of America has bank accounts holding, $1 billion or whatever. I don't know, $1 trillion.
Sure. Are we talking electronic bank accounts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I have a bank account
for sure,
at Bank
trillions
of America,
of dollars,
right?
absolutely.
So like Bank of America has like $1 trillion. So, but do they have $1 trillion in cash?
No, I think that would be...
I guess
still...
that's like why the run on the banks is a bad thing, right? Because like during 1929, when there was a run on the banks and they just like run out of money, they can't give you your money because they're like, actually, hey, this whole thing was a lie.
That's when the jig
None
is
of this
up.
money actually ever existed.
Yeah.
It doesn't ever mean anything at all. We made it all up.
Yep.
Us and the Secretary of the Treasury.
And you know what's beautiful is a truth bomb like that didn't change our ways. Didn't end. We just said, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we just go, hey guys, if shit's going real bad, the economy is tanking, your money is losing all its value.
Buy toilet paper.
Don't you dare try and get your money. Don't you dare try and get your money.
And then everybody's like,
it's on you if something bad happens because of that.
But like if we freak out about gas, though, we can all go and get gas at the same time, though, right? That's not like the banking system.
Nope. Also very, very similar. We get long lines and
but you don't run out of
prices. We will absolutely, we'll run out. And then you have to go based on whatever your license plate number is on a certain day. And that was called the 70s.
Yeah.
Or
And also,
1979,
whenever
that
a
was.
hurricane hits
Yeah.
Houston,
Yeah. So the 70th day of every 70th day also.
Yeah.
So before we get into all these dogs eating each other, do you think it's a sexual thing or like a...
No.
Okay. We've got a sponsor.
We do.
All right. Did you say no to the sexual thing because you don't want to be talking about dog sex this close to the sponsor? You think that would be bad for the image of the sponsor, and
Correct.
they might not
This sponsor
re-up with us?
would definitely not get back to us if we talked that closely about it. And also, an image of it popped into my head when you said that, and I was saying more no to my brain than the image.
Gotcha.
Like,
all right. So, are you struggling in your relationship?
rude and no.
Then our sponsor today isn't for you.
Okay.
But if you're experiencing lots of fights or a Jennifer,
Yeah. A Jennifer lack of enjoyment.
a Jennifer lack of enjoyment. Jennifer is a fucking bitch.
Jennifer's
she can't
body.
enjoy anything.
Yeah.
If you're experiencing lots of fights or a general lack of enjoyment when hanging out with your loved one, then you'll want to try Stretch It Out.
How does Stretch It Out help struggling relationships?
They put you through a program that sends you stretchers to help delay the inevitable of truly fixing your problems.
What stretchers do they offer?
First, they send you a puppy. All of your attention can shift to keeping this pup happy and healthy.
What if that doesn't work?
Next step, they'll send you a baby. Not only will you have to keep this newborn happy and healthy, you'll need to keep it alive as well.
Is that all the stretchers they offer?
Not even close. For some couples, they'll send a third party to spice it up in the bedroom. Stretch It Out is not responsible for one of you falling for the third party, however.
Any other stretchers?
For show, my dog. They also offer new house, video game system, longer work hours, fun in-laws, dead child risen from their grave, better sex, actual changes that expire after 3 months, expensive diamonds, engagement, breast enhancement, penis enlargement, facial reconstruction surgery, running for political office, cancer diagnoses, and hair plugs.
And then you missed the second line of stretchers, if you could maybe read
Denial, mouth tape, too many hobbies, butt stuff, lots of weddings to commit to,
And then you...
awesome and... fun in-laws.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. That's a lot of options.
The American consumer loves options. And our listeners will receive 20% off their first stretcher with the code Push the Breakup on Down at checkout.
Don't break out. Don't break up. Stretch it out.
We had a lot of trouble reading this one.
And you know what?
And it wasn't limited to just me.
But I think what happens is I think our sponsors appreciate the improv-like aspect of our unprofessional podcast.
And we give it more time to breathe, really. Hey, speaking of relationships getting stretched out and being bad and stuff, you see that that Instagram girl that got murdered by her boyfriend in a national park or something?
First of all, allegedly. Is there a body?
No.
Right, so you can't say she got murdered.
Oh, right. No, I just mean that he killed her and she's dead now and he's responsible for it.
No, I don't think so. So you can't just say that. You can't just throw around accusations like that without all the facts.
Okay. So here's.
Do you not follow the science?
I'm sorry.
Do you not follow the science?
I'll follow the science.
Okay,
here.
sure.
And the FDA is not going to give this story a booster. All right. So this guy and gal, she's like 22 and hot.
Correct.
Was probably.
No, is still.
And he's, I don't know. I haven't seen him because he's irrelevant.
He looks like a normal dude.
So they go in the beginning of July on a cross-country, multiple-month road trip to national parks and stuff like that. And
sounds fine so far. It sounds like
a blast.
Yeah.
And then on August 25th, she posted her last video.
Sure.
In the Grand Tetons National Park, I believe.
Okay.
And then on August 30th, her phone at least texted her parents like, hey, we're at Yellowstone. Bad service here. Probably can't get in touch with you for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so that's August 30th. And August has 31 days to my knowledge.
Nailed it.
On September 1st, her boyfriend returns home to his home in Florida.
Okay.
Alone. And her parents don't find out about this until September 11th, that he's been back home in Florida since September 1st, when they believe that their daughter texted them from Yellowstone on August 30th about how she can't get in touch with them for a while because she's in Yellowstone and there's bad service. And so they file a missing persons report.
What if she is just doing a tribute to the people that weren't ever found in the 9/11 horrible accident?
That's exactly where I was going with this. So then the cops go to this guy's house and they're like, hey, where's the girl you were with? And he was like, talk to my lawyers.
Yeah, which there's more in the story, but I do want to say that is, if he didn't do it, that is the smartest thing he could have done.
Yeah, okay. If the police ever ask you anything, lawyer is the answer to their question. I will say. 100%. But also, this guy totally killed this girl.
And another, I'm going to throw it out, allegedly.
100%.
Right. Well, 99.9 because it's allegedly.
Allegedly, he 100% killed her.
Yes, that is a fair statement.
Because that's, like I said, yes, the lawyer thing. Yeah. But also he killed her, because why would you not, like, it could just, all you'd have to do is be like, we got in a fight, she broke up with me, and so I came home.
We got in a fight, and she shot herself in the head and fell down into a ditch.
Yeah, there was like a hole that was dug, and then the wind came and it blew dirt over the top of the hole she fell in. God, it was tragic.
You should, if anything, you should put wind on trial here.
And so he's refused to be questioned, and now he is also been disappeared. Allegedly last Tuesday.
He probably went to go find her.
To
help find her.
He vanished and was reported missing on Friday. So now it's been like a week and he's been gone. So either he has like a fake mustache and he's on the run somewhere, or he killed himself because he felt bad about killing his girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Or this whole thing was like a social media adventure of them on their YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that.
Dude, that would be so...
how would you gain more followers other than just being all over the national news about how you're missing, and then he goes out to find her, and oh my God, he finds her and they're reunited on YouTube.com.
The only issue with that plan is that you will 100% go to jail for wasting police resources.
Yeah, but
they don't like that.
But think about the book deal you get after that. Think about that. Harper Collins money.
How many years is that worth to you?
I don't know.
How many years would you get
for that?
How many years would you go to jail?
6
for let's say a $2 million profit off a book.
Oh, I thought you were going to say murder. 6 months.
Yeah, I don't think you would get 6 months.
You think I get less because I'm charming?
No.
Charismatic?
No.
A Ted Bundy of a man?
Oh, you think that if you were your own lawyer, you would get 6 months?
You don't think that I could be Ted Bundy if I wanted to?
In the sense of what? You just killing women? Or failing miserably in court?
All of the...
Okay, I guess you have
just an all-around Ted Bundy of a man. So, yeah.
And what's good about this is that there's no damning previous evidence that could be used, like police body cam of a fight.
A domestic disturbance happening in Utah on October or August 15th or something like that.
Which, like, if you're driving around in your house... What is there a fucking raccoon that calls the cops?
This is exactly what I was wondering. There was a domestic disturbance that ended with the police pulling over the van that they're living with on the highway. So, like, did one of them call the police from the van while continuing to drive and being like, my girlfriend / boyfriend is being abusive? Or...
I bet it was her, because I think the allegation was apparently she said on the body cam that he just wouldn't let her in the car for a while. He had locked her out of their van.
So she called the cops because, like,
I think she called them, but I don't know.
He was being a little bitch. Can you call the cops for that?
Do you think that's what she was?
Should I call the cops after every episode of this fucking podcast that we record on you for being a little bitch?
I've never been a little bitch on this podcast.
All right. So Anyway, speaking of dead people,
Yeah.
speaking of game shows,
And because if a dog would eat another dog, we're talking a dead dog. So that's how we're gonna tie these two death things together.
No, I've got a tie-in here.
Oh. Oh.
The Game Show Network. Heard of it? Game Network for game shows.
Yep.
Had a show called High Stakes Poker, hosted by Norm Macdonald.
Sure.
He's dead now.
And he's one of the funniest comedians alive.
No, he's not. He was. No, now he's dead.
Oh.
He got eaten by a dog.
I don't think that's what. Well, if you know what is a dog? Cancer's a dog.
Cancer is a dog. So Norm Macdonald. Last Tuesday, our podcast comes out on Tuesday, so we didn't know this was going to happen. Later in the day on Tuesday, Norm Macdonald just up and died out of nowhere. But apparently he'd had cancer and been dealing with cancer for 9 years. I almost said battling cancer, but
battling implies maybe a win.
So that's he had a stand-up bit years ago talking about battling cancer and how it doesn't make any sense to say that. And he said, back in the day, people just died. They didn't lose a battle. It's kind of fucked up that this person has cancer and is going through all this pain, and then they die, and the first thing we do is call them a loser.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm pretty sure if you die, then the cancer dies at the same time. So that's not a loss, that's a draw.
Yeah.
So I was a little prescient.
That's the kind of hard-hitting, edgy stuff that he's been doing his entire life.
So he's like my favorite stand-up comedian.
Can't be your favorite because he's dead.
And now he's not because he's dead. So he's lost.
So he's
title.
lost favorite.
Yeah, and now it's Amy Schumer. Who's funnier than Amy Schumer? And there's been a lot of stuff. Obviously, a great game show host on High Stakes Poker.
He was, because he loved poker, and he loved
gambling. He was a gambling addict.
Yeah. And he had, because there were originally two guys that would host like the World Series of Poker that we would watch, and one of them was clearly the goofy comedic
Norm Chad.
relief. Correct. And the other one was just kind of the boring guy that would talk through the hand. And Norm was able to do both of those. And he had a high knowledge of poker, so he had really good strategy talk.
Yeah, he was good, but he's not good anymore on account of being dead. And yeah, he just had cancer for 9 years, didn't tell anybody, and because he didn't want to use it as currency, basically, he resented people that used their personal struggles to gain sympathy and fame and things like that.
So did he hate all stand-up comedians?
Yeah, pretty much. He wasn't necessarily shy about letting that be known.
Okay.
But yeah, so there's a big, I won't be the first to say this because it's all over the internet, but a lot of people saying, I didn't even know he was sick, which is on his podcast, Norm Macdonald Live, with his co-host Adam Egget, famous Holocaust denier like you. I know you said not to bring that up before the episode, because what did you say? You said
I didn't say, I don't deny it. I just think that it was just a really boring subject.
Right. Remember you said don't say anything about it because those Jews get real feisty when you talk about their fairy tales.
I said snappy, not feisty.
Oh, sorry. So they were on the podcast talking about Hitler, and Norm said, I think this guy does not sound like a good guy. I think why don't me and you get some guns and go over there and kill him? And Adam Egget said he's already dead, and Norm said, I didn't even know he was sick. So that's been a funny refrain on his death, because nobody knew he was sick for the last 9 years, and now he's dead, and now I have to take back all the stuff I said about I can't believe people get upset when a celebrity dies. Fucking idiots. I don't even know that person.
Yeah.
But I was a little bummed out by this.
Did you cry?
I didn't know.
Like when you watch those clips of autistic kids making 3-pointers?
That is fucking beautiful, all right? What's more beautiful
he was barely autistic,
than an
by the way.
autistic guy making a 3-pointer?
He was a guy that was able to do quick math in 3rd grade and then got on the autistic level.
You saw me cry one time in college, and you've never let it go.
Yeah.
So he's dead. In other game show news, Jeopardy has some sort of solution for the time being.
What if this is our most popular podcast and we have talked about... We haven't even talked about the show. A show.
Why would we?
We've dug our heels in the sand. This is our game show theme.
We're talking about game
podcast
shows.
theme.
We're talking about game shows, all right?
Yes, sort of, yeah.
Jeopardy, that's a game show also. They've said that at least through November or something like that, Mayim Bialik is going to host when she can, and Ken Jennings is going to host when she can't. And I don't know why they don't just make Ken Jennings the fucking host.
Because Bialik is keeping...
Bialik?
What's her last name?
Bialik?
Yeah. Bialik is keeping Jeopardy in the news with her scandalous side stories. She has a tattoo, and Jewish people are not happy about it.
Is this true?
This is 100% true. Well, it might have been one of those stories that was like 9 people on Twitter said something.
Okay, yeah.
But yes, because apparently it is against Judaism
God,
to get...
like gave you this body.
Correct. And people are freaking out. And it's a tattoo. I think it might even have been a vaccine-related tattoo, like on her shoulder.
Like, don't vax on me.
No, it was an anti-vax. It was more vax me up all the time, I think is what it said.
Whatever drugs you got, shoot them in me.
Yeah. That part is a fake part.
That's always a funny thing to me. Your body is a
Judaism. You think Judaism is funny to you?
I think a lot of Jews are funny. Mel Brooks, Norm Macdonald, and Monty Python. Those are my 3 main.
Our friend Jeremy is pretty funny
in his way.
I mean, if he
not on purpose.
If the world didn't have commercials, I don't know if he would be as funny.
Because he just quotes them and he memorizes them all. So yeah, speaking of game shows and what we're going to talk about today, this one's called Dog Eat Dog.
And it's 100% American made.
And this was produced by Michael Vick. And it is just full on dog fighting.
Yeah.
On the game show network.
And whoever is consumed first. So there's a whole bunch of circles going on with dog fights between 2 dogs. And whoever kills and eats their opponent first wins.
It's like a weight thing because they don't necessarily have to die. But they weigh the 2 dogs at the start of the fight. And then they start going at it, trying to eat each other.
Okay.
And then whichever dog has added the most weight and the other dog has shed the most weight by virtue of getting those parts eaten by the other dog, then that's who wins.
Okay.
So that's a joke. That whole thing was a little bit.
What do you think is worse, Holocaust denying or joking about dead dogs? Because I bet for a large part of the population, it's joking about dead dogs.
Who, like Nazis?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So this was another import. We brought this bad boy over from the UK. It was in the UK for 4 series, which is their way of saying seasons, even though the whole thing is one fucking series. Where it aired on BBC One from 2001 to 2002.
Okay.
It was hosted by Ulrika Jonsson with 2 S's because she's a Swedish model, baby.
Okay.
And presenter.
And a Nazi. SS.
Yes, exactly. So she preferred the Holocaust denying
version.
Version.
And she did write both of her S's as lightning bolts.
Yes. So it was brought over to the U.S. on June something, 2002. And it aired for 2 seasons on Fox, I believe. And over here, it was hosted by Brooke Burns.
Ooh, she also sounds like a model.
You fucking nailed it.
Did I nail it?
So she was also we've already discussed her as the host of the Game Show Network version of The Chase. But she's from right here in Dallas, Texas.
Really?
Where we are.
That's cool.
She was on here's the history of Brooke Burns.
Yeah, give it to me.
She was on a Spanish-American teen sitcom called Out of the Blue in the mid-90s. You remember that one?
No.
No, me neither.
Was it like Degrassi, but in Spanish?
Spanish-American.
Spanish-American, so Spanglish.
Yeah.
With Adam Sandler.
Yes, exactly. Great movie.
So good.
Did you ever see that?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
I never saw that. She was a trained ballet dancer.
Okay.
And she went to like Romania or some shit like that.
That's huge.
I mean, it's not a very big country. To study
Romania is the Harvard of dancing.
To study ballet, and then when she was 15, she was skiing, and she tore her ACL.
No.
And put a hamper on her ballet career at the time.
Oh, that's
so she started
terrible.
modeling.
Because you don't need knees to model.
No, nobody cares.
Yeah.
And so then she became a model, and then she got on some television shows, and then she was on Baywatch Hawaii. And then she hosted Dog Eat Dog.
Okay.
And the way that this show worked was there were 6 contestants. And it opens with a weird little montage of the day that they sent these 6 contestants to training camp.
Yeah.
And training camp is basically like a ropes course.
Mm-hmm. And some trivia they have to do.
Right. For these people so that they can practice some stuff and size up what their opponents in the show are good and bad at.
Yeah.
Why is that important, you ask?
A lot of physical challenges.
Yeah. There's a lot of physical challenges and trivia challenges and some physical trivia challenges in this show. So what happens is that Brooke Burns, our hostess, who is hot.
And that's about all she contributed to the show.
Hey, that's all she needed to contribute. Now she's still hot, but 20 years older.
20 years wiser.
And she hosts some stuff. She also hosts some other show on Game Show Network. Anyway, she reveals what the first challenge will be. And then the 6 contestants vote on who they think will fail that challenge.
She currently hosts Masterminds.
Masterminds, thank you. So whoever is voted to do the challenge by their fellow contestants has to do it. And if they fail at the challenge, as their contestants presumably think they will, then that person is sent to the dog pound. Or in the UK version, the loser's bench. By the way, the show was still called Dog Eat Dog over there.
Yeah.
But you get sent to the loser's bench.
Loser's bench doesn't even reference anything. It's just the most literal term.
You go to the failure circle. So they get sent to the dog pound, which comes into play again later. They're not completely gone.
Right,
from,
they could
the
break
television.
out of the dog pound and potentially bite their
somebody.
opponent.
Yeah. So they're sent to the dog pound. However, if they're able to accomplish the task, succeed in the challenge,
they go to the winner's bench.
No. They go back to where they were before.
Oh, okay.
But they choose one of the people who voted for them to be sent to the dog pound instead.
I love that.
So you could vote for somebody, never do any of the challenges yourself and lose, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Because you voted for them, they succeeded, and they dislike you specifically.
Karma, baby.
And they would kind of, when they do the votes, go through and be like, Todd, why'd you vote for Jessica?
Mm-hmm.
And then Todd has to say, well, in training camp, she really struggled in the rock climbing portion, so I don't think she's going to be able to climb up this rope.
Yeah.
Grab this flag.
Jessica was really nervous on the ropes course because she said she was afraid of heights. She did pee herself and slipped on the rope from the urine, so I don't think she's going to do super hot. I don't know why she signed up for this show.
So, and then, so I guess like maybe based on those reasonings would color why the person, if they succeed, chooses a specific person that voted for them.
Sometimes it was a personality thing.
Yeah.
The pilot episode, everybody votes for this guy who's kind of gregarious and just a short blonde guy,
it.
and he does great, and he ends up winning the $25,000. And at the very beginning, they say, "Why do you vote for him?" And almost everybody was like, "He's a loudmouth and kind of annoying. I kind of want him out of here." I was like, "Damn."
All right.
Hopefully he comes back.
So, also there's 6 people, so, and you can't vote for yourself, but there can be ties. So if there's a tie, the last person to be sent to the dog pound is the tie-breaking vote.
Ooh.
And if it happens on the very first one when nobody's in the dog pound yet, then basically a big old
Fight to the death.
Yes, 6-person roulette wheel sort of thing chooses a random person,
Mm-hmm.
and that person breaks the tie.
Got it.
So once somebody's sent to the dog pound, obviously there are now 5 people remaining, and the same thing repeats itself with only the remaining people voting, again, unless there's a tie, and then the dog pound breaks that tie for us. So the challenges in this game, like I said, there were physical challenges, there were trivia challenges, there were physical trivia challenges. Some of them were like pendulum swing, where you're in this big standing swing thing, and the goal is in less than 2 minutes to swing over the bar, to do a full rotation.
Okay.
Using your body weight only to propel you. Seems impossible based on what I've experienced at playgrounds.
Yeah.
But I guess
fall down on your fucking head.
But on a swing at the playground, there's looseness to it's like
it's like what those acrobats do
or whatever. But this one, it's a solid poles.
Got it.
So I guess that helps allow you to be able to.
It's so much easier.
Flip that whole thing over.
Absolutely.
There's one called the Catwalk, where you got to put on 6-inch heels and walk across a balance beam in the sky.
Yeah, a lot of these. That was way too loud. A lot of these challenges were involved putting on a harness and being a healthy 15 feet up in the air.
Yeah, above like a pool of water. Generally, there was like a climb this rope in the rain, and so like a bunch of water is just falling on you from above, and you've got to try and climb a rope and get to the top. And they did it with and there's another rope next to you that's lit on fire at the bottom, and the fire is rising, and you've got to get to the top to pull this cord to put out the fire before it gets to the top. So there's stuff like that.
The one that I really liked was they put a pretty short treadmill suspended really
treadmill
high,
trivia,
and you had to answer trivia while you were running on this treadmill, and every question you got wrong, they would speed up the treadmill. And the 3 contestants voted for the contestant named Widow, who was dressed in goth attire.
Ooh, yeah. I would
along
vote on
with
that person.
thick boots on.
Yeah, I would vote for that person.
And he said after they voted for him, Brooke asked him, "Do you run?" He said, "Yeah, I run once a week." And everybody was like, "Oh no!" And I was like, "Do you run in 4-inch thick boots that are probably steel-toed and a healthy 5 pounds?" And he failed.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah.
So the other challenges included one that I just don't think you're allowed to do now, called he or she.
Correct. Definitely made a note on that.
And that was like they would send out 5 people, all
Dressed
dressed
men.
like men or women.
Right.
And you had to guess which one wasn't really a man or woman.
And what you would do to help talk out your answers is you would say things like, I don't see any boobs on this one, so this one's probably a man.
I don't see a bulge. That's got to be a chick. There was one called Tear Factor, which was a play on the television show Fear Factor,
Okay.
that you had 90 seconds to cry.
I did not see that one.
You just had to cry. You had to make yourself cry.
Could you like punch yourself and?
I don't think so. I think it's just pure emotions.
So you just essentially
and like
was
the other
bring up
people are
trauma?
insulting you at the time, and so you maybe have to like harness that.
So people are insulting you.
Yeah.
So why? But why would you want to do that? That's easy. Like the other contestants would insult you.
Yeah.
I would do the nicest insults.
Oh God, you're so in shape.
Yeah.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Yeah,
How
it makes me
good-looking
feel
you
like
are.
an idiot.
And then one of the other things that they did in many different ways, just to mix things up, was strip blank. There was strip hangman. There was strip mini golf. There was strip darts. There was strip football toss. And the way any of these worked is basically you were trying to attempt this thing, like hangman, for example. You would guess a letter. If the letter wasn't there, you have to remove one article of clothing.
Sure.
And you've got to try and guess the word. And the goal is, or the end result is, if you are fully naked and fail, you fail. But a lot of people, specifically the men, because they were cowards with small dicks or whatever,
Okay.
would give up because they didn't want to.
They would just say game over.
They would just be like, no, I'm just going to go to the dog pound instead of stripping fully.
Wow.
But yeah, it was the same thing, like darts. For each, you had to like get a bullseye, and for each dart you took, you had to take off an article of clothing. I think the golf one was for each article of clothing you took off, you get to get closer to the hole.
There's a little bit of strategy with the clothes.
Yeah. So this was a big thing. They promoted it. There was like a commercial, I think, with like naked Brooke Burns on a mini golf course.
Okay.
Obviously very blurred and almost certainly not actually naked.
Yeah.
But the contestants, they actually had to get naked when they did it. Or, again, they would just be cowards and give up and go to the dog pound.
Got it.
Like one guy, I thought this was weird. On the strip hangman, and they let you like a shoe, the other shoe, a sock, the other sock, whatever. And so he had both shoes and socks off, his shirt off. So he just had on pants and underwear at this point.
Nice.
And he missed. And rather than take his pants off and be there in his underwear, he reached into his pants and ripped his underwear from underneath his pants and pulled them out so that he was removing his underwear but leaving his pants on.
Okay.
As a modest gentleman.
Maybe he knew that there were tire tracks in his backside from poor wiping.
But then like Brooke held up his underwear.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
And she didn't mention any tire tracks?
No, she didn't mention it.
Okay.
So yeah, and then after that he gave up because he didn't want to take his pants off. So that was a little anticlimactic. He did the whole underpants reveal, and then it was like, all right, I quit.
To be fair, quite a few of the challenges I saw were anticlimactic in that people just quit because they had
I can't fucking do that.
30 seconds left and were absolutely physically exhausted.
Yeah. There was like rope net climbing stuff, and those are hard to do. Climbing a rope nets.
It's so loose.
It is so loose. It's so
tighten it up.
Yeah, I agree. I obviously agree. This also had a lot of sponsorships going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was always like the net zero countdown clock.
Or the Circuit City.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yes, there was Circuit City and Net Zero were two big sponsors of this show. Neither of them exist anymore.
Yeah.
At least I assume
There's
Net
got to be
Zero
there's got to
doesn't
be
exist.
one Circuit City.
Because the whole idea of Net Zero was like you can get on the internet for free, but it was dial up.
So nobody cared.
Right. But I mean, I guess people still had dial up in 2002. But it was going the way of the dodo quickly at that point.
No, Circuit City went defunct March 9, 2009.
What about Net Zero?
I'll find out.
Thank you. But yeah, they sponsor stuff like Circuit City would sponsor the replay board, the video board, and Net Zero would sponsor the countdown clock. I don't know. The tie-in is like, because it gets to zero eventually.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe. So that was it. This game goes on playing out, as we mentioned, until there are just 2 people remaining. Then, obviously, they're going to vote for the other person. So we can't do the voting thing at this point. What we do is they compete in a head-to-head challenge. Like, for example, they might have to have a fish throwing competition. Or they might have to have a rope climbing contest. Or walking across a slippery thing while the rain comes, quote unquote, rain comes down from above, and whoever falls off first loses, etc. Or they might have, like you and your sister might, a breath holding competition.
Ooh, that sounds like nobody could get hurt.
Well, you'd be wrong there.
Why is that?
So the way it worked was you were in this little harness thing, and you're all tied up, and it pushed you down into the pool and held you down there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had like a little rip cord on your little vest that was tied to you. And whenever it was time for you to give up, you pull the rip cord, and there's like a bungee that just yanks you out of the water real fast. And so whoever was the first person to pull the rip cord lost. And then there were also like scuba men underneath
Scuba
the water.
Steves?
A couple scuba Steves were underneath the water there to, tend to you if you got into a situation where you couldn't pull the ripcord.
Mm-hmm.
So on the very first episode that they filmed, the final challenge was the breath holding challenge. And there was a guy named Darren on it, and he was one of the final 2. So these 2 guys go into the breath holding challenge, and it's one of those things where, as a viewer at home, you're obviously trying to hold your breath along with them to see how long you can hold your breath.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Without all the stress.
Anytime somebody is like doing like an underwater dive or something like that in any sort of media, I feel like you kind of just naturally are like, I'm going to hold my breath and see if I can hold my breath as long as this person holds their breath.
Sounds like you can't relax and watch TV. You have to constantly compete for something.
I have to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
So these 2 guys are holding their breath underwater, whatever. What we see on the show is eventually Darren, I guess, pulls his ripcord and is yanked out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
The other guy sees this and yanks his, and they both come up. And then we see Darren kind of like hanging there like a little marionette, and people are talking to him. He's like, yeah, whatever. And so then we go to commercial break. We come back for the final round, and I guess I'll need to explain how the final round works, which is basically a trivia contest in which the 5 members of the Dog Pound have to answer trivia questions, but the top dog, aka the person who has won,
standing next to Brooke,
decides based on the category of the question giving who should answer it. And if 3 of the 5 get the question right, he loses. Our winner, our top dog, loses. And if 3 of them miss, then the top dog wins, and it's a $25,000 prize. What's that do for you?
mean, it's fine.
Okay. It's a $25,000 prize. So either the top dog gets it or the 5 members of the dog pound split the $25,000.
Okay.
So in this first episode that was filmed, at least, they go to commercial and they come back, and our top dog, who won the breath holding competition, is standing there with Brooke. And then 4 other people that aren't Darren
That doesn't add up.
are sitting in the dog pound.
That doesn't add up.
And then Brooke says, Darren has chosen not to continue. So what's alleged to have happened, at least by Darren, is that his little ripcord didn't function properly, and he passed out underwater.
Oh.
And so he definitely alleged that in his lawsuit against NBC.
Yeah.
Wherein he alleges that their system malfunctioned, he was unconscious underwater, and suffered brain damage, and he's never been the same.
Oh, no.
Now, I'd like you to keep in mind that this was a breath holding competition, and the other guy saw him get yanked out of the water, reacted by pulling his own ripcord to get yanked out of the water. There's just no way that this guy passed out and suffered brain damage, all while this other guy was holding his breath directly across from him and like able to react in that same time. It was like 2 minutes total. You can go
long.
Yeah, it is long. I couldn't hold my breath for 2 minutes. But I don't think you get brain damage after just 2 minutes of holding your breath.
I mean, you can get brain damage from just bumping your head a little too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't think it takes much to technically get brain damage.
But anyway, the lawsuit was dismissed. And based on what I saw from this guy, he might have already had some brain damage beforehand.
What did you see from this guy that made it look like?
He was just a little goofy.
He was a little goofy, and you think brain damage.
Yeah. Isn't that the first place you go?
I don't think so.
I think it's the first place most of us go.
That guy's... So do you think Goofy, the actual character, has brain damage?
1,000%, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so like I said, the final 2 have this competition. One of them dies potentially, and then the other person is the top dog, and they compete for the $25,000. And then the other one sues NBC and has the lawsuit dismissed because you signed a release that said, if you die, that's your bad.
Yeah.
We're not responsible.
If you get brain damage, if you come onto the show Goofy and you leave Goofy, you already had brain damage.
But also he did, I don't know, because on the show, we see him like do the thing and get yanked out of there pretty immediately. So his contention that the thing malfunctioned and didn't pull him up is confusing to me because we saw him get pulled up. And then we saw the other guy pull up. Unless there was some because again, they still aired this episode.
Yeah.
And then they just said that Darren has chosen not to continue. But paramedics were called to the scene. We know that. That's a matter of public record. And I know you're Googling it, so it's DARIN.
I already found it.
Okay. So it's a matter of public record that paramedics did arrive on the scene. So we don't know how long the show was delayed before they continued. But it looked like in the episode, he pulled his thing, he got yanked out. The other guy saw it, pulled his thing, and was yanked out a second later. But I don't know, was there some crafty editing? Was he actually stuck under there, passed out, and then the other guy pulled his thing first and was yanked out? And then the producers responded by yanking Darren out, and then they edited it to look like, well, okay, so Darren's lost because he passed out.
Yeah.
But we'll make it look like he lost by getting yanked out, and then the other guy gets yanked out. I don't know if there's some manipulation going on there from the dog eat doggers. But it looked like on the show they played it by the rules. He was yanked out when he was supposed to be.
You don't see the yank.
Yanked out.
You don't see the yank.
You don't see him pull it.
No,
you just see him getting
he gets
yanked
ripped
out.
up and he looks limp.
Oh, so you watched the thing? I told you he looks like a marionette hanging up there.
No, you don't see him pull it. You just see him.
Do you see the other guy pull
his
it?
arm goes down, and then you see him get yanked up. So I think it looks like he did pass out.
So
the other guy. Hold on, the other guy. Yeah, it looks more like a yank.
It looks more like a yank for him.
Yeah, he just looks so limp when they pull him up. It just looks awkward.
So I wonder, did they just instantly react to seeing him go limp? Like, were the Scuba Steves down there, like,
I bet they
signaling?
said pull him up. Yeah, for sure.
But I also, again, I don't see him like trying to pull the thing and it failing or whatever.
Yeah.
So can he really say that it failed?
Right.
But allegedly, he claimed that NBC would not release the raw footage.
Yeah,
he wanted the raw footage.
Yeah, that's shady to me.
But it was dismissed, so maybe, I don't know.
I think why it would have been dismissed is, how do you prove brain damage? Like, if you didn't have any tests before you went, how are you supposed to say?
That is the hard part, and like all the like evidence and stuff was like his girlfriend being like, he's not as happy as he used to be.
Yeah, I mean it.
His memory's not as good as it
I
used
am
to be.
positive, not positive. It looks
like
awkward, and
right.
the way that it's edited also, like, because for instance, so I saw him get yanked up. He looks limp. The next time we see him, he is surrounded by people.
Yeah,
like either the scuba guy or probably producers or
and
whatever.
He's still hanging there, but he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine, whatever."
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I believe you, Darren.
I don't. Sounds like a frivolous lawsuit bullshit. Somebody's just trying to get rich off the backs of a corporation that worked hard to get to where they are today.
And they don't exploit people.
And I think I might have said it was on Fox earlier, but it was on NBC. It was NBC that he sued.
I think that was his issue. The show was on Fox, and he sued NBC.
that was why it was dismissed. Yeah, so it was. It's weird to me, I guess, that they still aired that.
Yeah,
I think maybe the lawsuit was after it aired.
It had to be.
Yeah. But that's basically the show. I think after season 1, they kind of stopped the strip stuff. I think there was some backlash to that, because in season 1 they really promoted, like, this is a show about people stripping and doing challenges.
Yeah. They also changed how the voting works. Instead of going one by one by one by one, they would bring up all the monitors at the same time, and you would see everybody who voted
vote instantly,
and people that were voted had red, like a red monitor.
Interesting.
Which I thought was a great update, because
speed things up.
I would rather see them. I would rather see the intense
treadmills.
challenging and stuff than the intense challenges than why people hate other people on the show.
Yeah. So, what do you have ways to improve this show?
I'm not conflicted on how to improve it. I'm very conflicted on what I'm going to rank it. But let's start with make it better. I didn't like the final round. I didn't like
the top dog.
The top dog versus the other people in trivia.
Dog pound.
The trivia's fine. I don't think it's best for the last round. Also, you give these contestants throughout the entire show up to this point so much autonomy and control over, whether they win the challenges or not. And then it's just like, nope, sorry, it's out of your hands.
Yeah, you're the top dog. Hopefully these people are dumb.
Yeah. And also it's trivia too. So I feel like you have a better idea of how people do on challenges if you're seeing them do all these ropes course and physical challenges. But like, how do you know this person doesn't know about history or a specific thing with it? Like, I understand. I think there were some pop culture questions in the training camp. So like that one would be easy, but it wasn't like super general pop. It was like fashion or like I remember the other ones, but they were pretty specific topics.
Yeah. Well, so on the episode of Darren, rest in peace, the top dog, we had to compete against just the 4 people, and I remember one of the categories was like movies, and he chose this one woman because he was like, yeah, well, I mean, like, she's got kids, so maybe she's too busy to be going to the movie theaters and stuff like that. And she was like, actually, I go to the movie theaters all the time. It's the number one thing that I do. Sometimes I go to 2 movies in a day, like blah, 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 blah. And then they're like, all right, so your question is, who directed the 1971 film A Clockwork Orange? And she was like, I was born in 1971. How would I ever know that?
And everybody knows that you can't ever watch movies if you were born in that year.
Yeah, because I was born 15 years after that, and I knew that Stanley Kubrick was the answer to that question because he's one of the 5 most famous directors
and the weirdest
in history.
Yep.
So yeah, it was fun. And that guy, I can't remember the name of the guy who was the top dog on that show, but the dog pound missed the first 3 questions, and it was just over immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of agree that is a bit anticlimactic.
For sure. It's like,
everything
for
else.
sure, like the denouement. For sure. You're like, all these awesome physical challenges and intensity is just, you climaxed in the middle.
Yeah. And that happens to me a lot.
Right.
And so I wish I could make it better also.
So how is it the middle if you climax?
Because I just put on a brave face.
It's not the...
Keep going.
Yeah.
There's a lengthy denouement. Yeah, so how would you make it better, though? Just say...
That's the thing.
Do something else.
I don't feel
you don't
great.
Know what?
I don't know what. I think maybe if it's... So maybe you get the title of a physical challenge, but you don't get a description of it, and you get a trivia option to choose.
So it's like a truth or dare kind of thing?
Kind of. So it's like,
trivia or
walk
challenge.
the line or movies, and you're like, and you have to choose one person. So you'd be like, I'll do walk the line with Rebecca. Right. Gotcha. And then it's like, walk in a straight line. You're like, fuck, that's way too easy.
Damn it. That was a mistake. What if it was just like a you just had to like William tell all the people, like they have to line up with apples on their heads.
Oh my god!
And you get a bow and arrow, and
if you miss, they die.
Well, they're in the dog pound. They kind of deserve it at that point.
And what happens is when they die, they put them in the death bench.
Exactly. The death bench.
The limp body.
And if you hit the apple, for each apple, you get $5,000, and for each person you kill.
I mean, just do that as a game show. Why does that have to be?
That's the game show. Just William Tell.
William Tell All.
Whoa. So there was a one of the games was called Celebrity 3-Way, and it was like basically you just had to.
It was like that other game show.
It was like before and after on Wheel of Fortune, where it would be like. Robert Lively, and then you have to say Blake. Robert Blake Lively.
Well, isn't that exactly what that game show is? The one that's hosted by the guy that's in all of the A Mighty Wind and...
Oh, America Says?
Yeah.
No, America Says is like Family Feud. You're thinking of...
we did a game
Lingo.
Show. Is that what it was?
Where it's...
Every next word.
Every next word is... Yeah. Yes. That was Lingo. And you hated the host of it.
Did I?
Yeah. And because remember, it just came back earlier this year. And... Oh, no, not Lingo. What's the name of the show? It was... I don't know. It was a show.
Okay.
I'll tell you that. But you hated this because they made a big deal about how the original host is back. And it wasn't that worthwhile to be excited about.
Yeah.
Because he was fine. He did his job well, but he wasn't particularly interesting, I guess I'd say. But
Chain words?
Chain Reaction.
Chain Reaction, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know how you make it better necessarily, but yeah, you're right in that it is not super great.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a boring way to end the show. What would you give this show on a scale of 1 to 5 buzzers?
This is really hard because I really enjoyed this show. I thought it was fun. I think it had drama because they were like, tell us why you hate this person or tell us why you voted for this idiot. And I thought that was fun, mean, but a fun aspect of the show. The challenges were fun. It reminded me of Real World Road Rules Challenge, which were always incredibly entertaining. But I thought Brooke was just so dull. And I think that if you just had a computer read the rules of the game, that wouldn't have been any different.
Computer wouldn't look that good.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. Just
Which was the point?
There was no personality there. So I think I'm going to knock it down, and I'm going to give it 4 buzzers.
Yeah, Brooke's gotten a lot better as like a host of stuff over the last couple decades. Because she was good on The Chase. We liked her a lot better than the woman who's doing it
Chase
on
was good.
ABC now. But yeah, I liked it. I just felt like it dragged a lot. And even
it was a 42-minute show.
Yeah, it was a full hour-long show. And like even when they were doing some of the challenges, like even the underwater challenge, it's like, all right, now I'm just watching people sit underwater for a minute. And
that means they got 2 full minutes per physical, right?
Yeah, most of them were like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was like all right, here's a guy like climbing across a rope ladder for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And they've got dramatic music going and like the reactions of the other people, and it's just like, okay, like things like that I felt were better were maybe like the treadmill trivia or something like that, where it's active just gonna say that. And
there's something going on.
You're engaged in that, but some of them just didn't live up to that standard, and like, yeah, they played up like the strip games and stuff like that. And some of those, that's unique and interesting in that sense. Mm-hmm. But again, it's like, oh, they miss it. They've got to take off a sock. And
they go down their pants and pull a sock out, and you're like, how? Why?
And then it's all censored anyway when we get to the good stuff. I want to know how big this guy's dick is.
Yeah,
that's always my problem with there's a lot of naked TV shows now.
Yeah, Naked and Afraid.
Well, yeah, there's Naked and Afraid. There was Naked Dating. Now there's like Naked and Afraid of Love.
Naked Jeopardy.
Which is Naked and Afraid but dating.
By the way, Naked Jeopardy would suck because everybody's behind a podium.
Yeah. And then like they put out like Naked and Afraid Uncensored, and it's just like extended cuts of the thing, all still completely censored.
Oh, I see.
And I'm like, okay,
it's like when you hear like an unplugged concert, and you're like, these people are plugged in.
I hear electric guitar sounds. Or when Eurotrip Unrated came out, and then on the cover of the DVD was Michelle Trachtenberg untying her bikini top. Even in the unrated version, she never goes topless.
Unbelievable.
It's false advertising bullshit.
Did you reach out to the company?
Yes. Yeah. I want to see some boobs and dongs. All right?
Mm-hmm. Which, that is the name of our new restaurant. All inclusive. It's like Hooters, but guess what?
Boobs and dongs.
There's something for everyone.
Yeah, so I'll give it a 3.
Harsh.
I'll give it a 3. It was all right. Could have been better.
Yeah, I liked it.
But it was kind of like a combination of like one of those like MTV Real World Road Rules challenges with a game show, basically.
Exactly what I said.
So yeah, it was okay. You maybe check it out on YouTube because that's the only place you can find it.
Yeah.
They aired reruns on the Game Show Network for a while. I don't think they do anymore. But that's Dog Eat Dog. That's how you pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all right. This has been an episode of Come On Down. Check us out.
The game show podcast that has received 0 emails so far.
Email.
So
come on down show at gmail.com. Well, we've gotten 1 email.
From whom?
Chase Gordon.
And he said?
I don't know. I think he just pretended to be not himself, and it was just a dumb bit.
That's pretty funny. He did that on our website too.
Yeah, he's kind of annoying. I mean, loyal listener though.
The one loyal listener you fucking talk shit about.
He deserves it. All right. We'll see you guys next time.
That's not a dog. That's more pig.
The truffle hunt.